Hi there, knowledge explorers. Welcome back to another intriguing episode on our channel. Today, we shine a light on the dark corners of research. Join us on this journey as we uncover the top 10 most disturbing experiments that have been conducted on humans. Number 10. Medicine experiments on vulnerable populations. At number 10, we have instances where researchers conducted drug experiments on vulnerable populations without proper informed consent. Throughout history, from the slavery era to the 20th century, experiments on vulnerable populations such as prisoners, people with disabilities, and minority groups have raised serious ethical concerns. An infamous example is the Tuskegee syphilis study, spanning from 1932 to 1972. It was conducted by the U.S. Public Health Service and the CDC on a group of African American men in Alabama, and was meant to observe the effects of the disease when untreated. The participants were not informed of the nature of the experiment, and were initially told that the experiment was only going to last 6 months, but it was extended to 40 years. Shockingly, the treatment for syphilis was withheld, and as a result, many participants had a tragic outcome. Similarly, the Guatemala syphilis experiment, conducted in the 1940s, took advantage of vulnerable populations, intentionally infecting Guatemalan prisoners, soldiers, orphans, inmates of mental hospitals, and sex workers with syphilis and other sexually transmitted infections. Another example is the Willowbrook hepatitis study, which was conducted in the 1950s and 1960s. During this experiment, mentally disabled children at the Willowbrook State School were intentionally infected with hepatitis to study the disease's progression and develop a vaccine, with parental permission. Other diseases that have been examined on vulnerable populations include malaria, scurvy, and smallpox. The list also includes birth control pills testing, using Puerto Rican women without informed consent. Number 9. Biodefense. At number 9, we have human use research for biodefense purposes. A characteristic example is Project Operation Whitecoat, a biodefense medical research program carried out by the United States Army. From 1954 to 1973, more than 2,300 volunteers were used as test subjects and were infected with bacteria that were considered likely choices for a biological attack. The volunteers were then treated with antibiotics to cure the infections, and some were also given investigational vaccines. These experiments took place in Maryland. All volunteers were conscientious objectors, who are individuals that refuse to perform military service on the grounds of freedom of thought, conscience, or religion. Many were members of the Seventh-day Adventist Church and got to remain in the United States, instead of being assigned as combat medics in Vietnam. Number 8. Toxic chemicals and radioactive materials. Arriving at number 8, we delve into the disturbing realm of experiments involving radioactive materials and toxic chemicals. A striking illustration comes from the Fernald School, where a collaboration between Harvard University and MIT unfolded from 1946 to 1953. The experiment partially received sponsorship from the Quaker Oats Company. Young male children were subjected to tracer doses of radioactive isotopes, examining calcium and iron absorption. The boys were lured into a science club, promising incentives like extra food, parties, and outings to Boston Red Sox games. They consumed iron-enriched cereals and calcium-enriched milk for breakfast. Additionally, supplement shots with radioisotopes of iron were given to 17 subjects. Shockingly, neither the children nor their parents granted proper informed consent for their involvement. Unveiling yet another disconcerting incident, 800 pregnant women received radioactive iron in the late 1940s at Vanderbilt University. Additionally, during the Baltimore lead paint study, families with young children were deliberately exposed to lead, with the hope to show that less stringent lead abatement techniques that would cost landlords less money would pose minimal health risks to children. The study was criticized for targeting poor African American children. Number 7. Psychology and phobias. At number 7, we encounter a series of experiments on the human mind. The infamous Stanford Prison Experiment, conducted in 1971, was designed to explore the psychological dynamics of power and authority. For 2 weeks, a prison environment was created to see how people's reactions and actions were influenced by different situations. The participants took on the roles of both prisoners and guards. The guards' aggressive behavior led to the experiment being terminated on the 6th day, before its intended conclusion. During an earlier era, we find the phobia experiments, led by Mary Cover Jones in the 1920s. This groundbreaking study aimed to alleviate a child's phobia by gradually exposing them to the source of their fear. While it laid the foundation for modern behavior therapy, it also raised ethical questions about the potential distress inflicted during the process. Number 6. Mind and speech control. Unveiling a dark chapter in history, Project MKUltra emerges as a secret human experimentation program executed by the U.S. Central Intelligence Agency, CIA. Initiated in 1953 and terminated in 1973, its sinister objectives aim to devise techniques and uncover substances capable of breaking individuals through brainwashing and psychological torment, enabling coerced confessions. This illicit project utilized an array of tactics to manipulate mental states and tamper with brain functions. These methods ranged from administering potent psychoactive drugs, including LSD, without consent, to subjecting victims to electroshocks, hypnosis, sensory isolation, and a harrowing array of abuses. This harrowing endeavor serves as a stark reminder of the dark corners of human experimentation and the ethical boundaries that were transgressed. Venturing deeper into history, we encounter the unsettling scenario of the monster study conducted during the 1930s. This particular experiment focused on orphan children and had the sinister objective of inducing stuttering through negative reinforcement, resulting in profound and enduring psychological trauma. In 2007, the state of Iowa issued an apology for the study, acknowledging the harm done to participants. Within this context, we also addressed the Facebook emotional contagion study. In 2014, Facebook conducted a study, manipulating users' news feeds to observe emotional contagion, igniting concerns regarding informed consent and the safeguarding of privacy. Number 5. Atomic energy. Next, we uncover Project Sunshine, a series of research studies, launched in 1953 with the aim of uncovering the repercussions of radioactive fallout on the global population. Initially shrouded in secrecy, this endeavor only came to light in 1956. A collaboration between the United States Atomic Energy Commission and USAF Project RAND, Sunshine was driven by the need to comprehend the far-reaching impacts of repeated nuclear detonations of escalating power on the environment. Project Sunshine set out to gauge the worldwide distribution of SR-90 by measuring its concentration in the tissues and bones of the deceased. Notably, the focus was on the young, whose developing bones exhibited the highest susceptibility to radiation damage due to SR-90 accumulation. The revelation that many samples were used without the prior consent of relatives sparked controversy, a revelation that only emerged years later. Number 4. Aversion therapy. Next, we delve into the Aversion Project, a medical torture program orchestrated by Dr. Aubrey Levin during the era of apartheid in South Africa. This project targeted gay soldiers and conscripts who were identified for their drug use within the South African Defense Forces. Victims were subjected to coercive measures aimed at curing their homosexuality, driven by the view of homosexuality as subversive and deserving of punishment. In a significant turn, the South African Medical Association offered a public apology in 1995, acknowledging the wrongdoings associated with this disturbing episode. Number 3. Medical experiments on human brains. At number 3, we have Henry Gustav Molaison, a figure whose life reshaped the contours of neuroscience. Born on February 26, 1926, and departing on December 2, 2008, his journey uncovers the intricate link between brain structures and memory. Plagued by epilepsy, he underwent a pioneering bilateral medial temporal lobectomy in 1953, inadvertently losing the ability to form new memories. His condition traced back to a childhood bicycle accident, leading to major seizures by the age of 16. At 27, a groundbreaking procedure by a neurosurgeon marked a pivotal moment. From 1957 until his passing, he became a focal point of research. His case ignited theories on brain function and memory, paving the way for cognitive neuropsychology. Beyond his lifetime, his brain provided a wealth of insights, preserved at the University of California, San Diego, and made accessible to the public in 2014. His story stands as a testament to scientific curiosity, unraveling the mysteries of memory within the labyrinthine landscapes of the brain. Number 2. Obedience. Diving into the realms of human behavior and the power of authority, we uncover the intriguing Milgram experiments on obedience. Conducted by Yale University psychologist Stanley Milgram, these social psychology studies were a revelation. With 40 participants ranging from various backgrounds, they were asked to follow authority figures' orders, even if it conflicted with their morals. Deceptive scenarios led them to administer seemingly fatal electric shocks to a learner. Astonishingly, a significant majority followed instructions, with 65% delivering shocks up to 450 volts. Milgram's findings, unveiled in a 1963 article and later in his book, Obedience to Authority, astoundingly captured the impact of authority on human actions. Meanwhile, in the Stanford marshmallow experiment of 1972, psychologist Walter Mischel explored delayed gratification. Children were offered one immediate reward, or two if they waited. This trial tested their patience as they faced a single marshmallow for 15 minutes. Follow-up studies revealed those who could wait tended to have better life outcomes. However, a later replication with a more diverse sample questioned the initial findings, suggesting economic background's role. Before we get into the top position, please note that there are links to related articles in the description of this video. By the way, if you're enjoying this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. Number 1. Nazi experiments. At number 1, we delve into the dark records of Nazi human experimentation during World War II. This grim series of medical tests took place within concentration camps, primarily from 1942 to 1945, involving over 15,000 documented victims. Prisoners from various backgrounds and age groups were subjected to these inhumane experiments, leaving behind severe and permanent injuries. These experiments aimed to further the Nazi agendas, from advancing military strategies to promoting racial ideologies. Similarly, in the Far East, Unit 731, a covert biological warfare unit of the Imperial Japanese Army, carried out lethal human experimentation during the Second Sino-Japanese War and World War II. Victims were subjected to unimaginable horrors, and the legacy of these atrocities continues to haunt humanity. These accounts serve as solemn reminders of the unspeakable depths of human cruelty, highlighting the imperative to remember history's tragedies and uphold ethical standards. Which of these shocking experiments has left you most astonished? Feel free to share your thoughts in the comment section. Until next time, keep exploring and learning.